Hi, I'm Katherine. I make lifestyle videos about motherhood and veganism. In this video, I wanted to talk about what happened after he was born, and that included the delivery of the placenta. If you haven't already, go back and watch my first video, which was the birth story about my labor and delivery of Benjamin. I will link it down below or have it in the card right here, so go watch that so that this video makes sense. So at this point, baby Benjamin was just born, he is on my chest, and we are waiting for the placenta to be delivered. It doesn't have to happen right away, but it generally needs to come out sooner rather than later. I kind of felt some more cramping and they were pushing on my belly, trying to, work its way out. I was holding Benjamin, they were checking on him and everything. She tried to pull on the cord a little bit to see if the placenta would come out on its own, and it was kind of just hanging out in there, so we gave it a little bit more time. At this point, I assume I started bleeding a lot more. I'm still not 100% sure what the chain of events were, but I started bleeding a lot. Like, there was a lot of blood coming out. My midwife had originally been supporting me behind me, and she switched to try to deliver the placenta instead of having the assistant midwife do it. And at this point, she kind of assessed what was going on, saw that there was a lot of blood, and she told the student midwife to go and call 911 to have them on hand. At this point, I was like, okay, like, this could happen. I could have a hospital transfer. Baby was fine. I felt fine. I didn't feel faint or anything. I felt weak from being in labor for like 13 hours, but I felt good. And honestly, I was so calm during all of this, and that's normally not how I am. I am not calm in any sort of medical situation. I am like the first one to freak out about anything. I knew I had to be calm, like I knew I couldn't freak out, and I was just thinking to myself, I kind of made a little mantra, like, I trust my midwife, she will keep me safe, I will be safe, baby is healthy, I will be healthy, I need to stay here for my baby if it came to that. There was a lot of bleeding, and I had to get up into a squatting position to get the placenta out. So grabbed baby, tried to get the placenta out, pushed the placenta out, and there was a lot more blood that came with that. So laid back down, still had baby Benjamin on me, still felt fine. Before the EMTs got there, they started an IV on me just to get some fluids in there. I was already, if you watched the last video, very well hydrated, so I think that helped me a little bit. So at this point, the EMTs are on their, or the ambulance and the fire department are on their way. Before all this had happened, my midwife had like my son leave the room. So my mom and my dad and my son were in a different room than where we were. I think they went into the bedroom or something, so they had no idea that 911 was called. They saw the ambulance and the fire truck pull up onto the street, and my mom actually thought that a neighbor had called them because of how much noise I had been making in labor as I was pushing out Benjamin, which kind of funny in hindsight because they probably just heard screaming and didn't know what it was, so that they called 911. But in reality, it was my midwives that had called 911, but everything had gone so smoothly that my mom didn't think that that's what it was. So she came out to investigate. Obviously, she came out to the living room to see what was going on when the EMTs arrived, and that's when she discovered that they had been called because I was having more bleeding. By the time that they showed up, she had figured out what was causing the bleeding. So she had discovered the source of the bleeding and had resolved it at that point. I believe she was working on it. Like, she was definitely like moving things around down there, and it was not the most comfortable thing, but I was distracted by the sweet little baby on my chest. So what it ended up being was that I had a slight uterine prolapse. What this means is that my uterus had come out through my cervix, not completely, just a little bit. So when you deliver a baby, to my knowledge, like, obviously I'm not a medical professional, but when you deliver a baby, there is going to be bleeding because you have an open wound in your uterus where the placenta was attached to the uterine wall, and that's kind of an open wound that needs to heal. And to get that to start healing and the blood to start clotting, your uterus will contract because your uterus is a muscle. So the uterus contracts, but the problem was my uterus was partially out of my cervix, so it couldn't contract the way it needed to, so it wasn't stopping that flow of blood from where the placenta detached. She was able to kind of push the uterus back up to where it needed to be, and the bleeding subsided. This also meant that I had to take it very, very, very easy for that first week postpartum. And I did actually have a emergency hospital bag packed for both labors, just in case. I knew I wanted to be prepared if for some reason we did have a hospital transfer. Luckily, she was able to figure out the cause of the bleeding. She was able to resolve it, and I did not need the hospital transfer. And I was so grateful to the EMTs and the first responders who showed up like so fast just in case I needed that transfer. And they were wonderful. I didn't actually see them because the way I was facing in the living room, they were all behind me. But I was so grateful that they came as quickly as they did. If I did need their care, like, they were fantastic. All in all, I'm very happy, obviously, that I was able to stay at home. I didn't need any stitches I didn't tear at all with this baby, and that they were able to resolve the bleeding. Currently, I have no other symptoms from the uterine prolapse. It was very mild from what I was told, and I just took it very easy that first week. I don't even think I got up to pee every few hours that first day or two. Like, my husband helped me get up and go to the bathroom. But other than that, for the first week, I just laid as flat as possible and just spent as much time bonding and nursing my little baby boy. And he's not so little anymore. He's like 6 months old now. I'll have to insert a picture. It's taken me a while to make this video for you guys. And even with that little scare, I'm so happy that I've been able to have 2 healthy vegan pregnancies and home births. Please know that I'm just simply sharing my story of our home birth, and if this interests you at all and a home birth seems like something you might want to do, I encourage you to do your research and see if it might be a good fit for you and your family. I will leave some links down below to some resources that helped me make the decision to have our first home birth and obviously our second home birth as well. So please check that out in the description box down below. I did make a video after having my first baby where I shared all of my postpartum must-haves and favorites, and I will link that video down below if you want to check that out. I really encourage you to do so because it has a lot of great information in it as well. And please subscribe to join our family. I would love to have you, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon in the next video. Bye.